What's up, YouTube? My name's Pooby. I got a dollar store microphone I got at the dollar store for $5. So it's not a dollar. Anyways, I got a microphone, I got a dream. I'm going to tell you some stories, and I'm going to play Minecraft. Alright, let's go. Alright, so this first story goes as follows. Am I the asshole for accidentally cheating on my husband? I normally wouldn't come online to discuss personal matters as I hate social media. But there's a confliction between me and my husband, and I'm lost. I need advice, or I need to know if I'm in the wrong. My husband and I have been together for 5 years, married for 3. We are both 28 now. For starters, my husband has an identical twin brother. He looks, acts, and sounds exactly the same as my husband. I've only ever interacted with his brother when I see him at their mom's house on special occasions. Recently, his twin came to pay him a surprise visit with no heads up. I come home from work, and he was sat down at the table. I approached him, greeted him, and gave him a kiss, which he returned. We continued chatting, and he asked if I'd like to talk, air quotations, in my bedroom. I agreed, as it was a long and stressful day at work. I needed some sort of relief. So we went to the room, and we were beginning to get intimate, and that's when the door opens. My husband walks in and begins to scream at both of us, asking what we're doing and why his brother is here. I was beyond shocked and tried to explain that I thought it was him and not his brother. That only made him angrier, which I found unfair as I thought it was him I was in bed with. This was a few days ago now. He's been calling me a disgusting cheater, a liar, and he's even threatened to divorce me over it. I've tried to explain it to him, but he refuses to listen. Am I the asshole? Alright, folks. First off, holy shit. That's insane. I don't know if my opinion matters on what I read, so let me know in the comments if you think this guy is the asshole or this wife is the asshole for low-key cheating on her husband even though it wasn't really her fault. I'm going to say two things. One, I think that she should know that that's not her husband. I mean, if you've been together for 5 years, married for 3, you should know that that is not your husband, and you should be aware that he has a twin brother. It is kind of weird that he kissed her back, though. That might have been like the confirmation she needed to talk in the bedroom. And my second point is the brother. That is definitely the brother's fault, 100%. So my ruling on this is not the asshole. So you guys let me know in the comments, though. And don't get mad at me, because, you know. Anyways, on to the next. Alright, this is another Am I the Asshole, but this is a family feud, so let's go. Am I the asshole for having my mother yell at me for having intercourse with my girlfriend in my own apartment when we're both 26 years of age? So I, 26 male, live with my girlfriend, 26 female, in an apartment that I pay for. We've been together for 3 years and our relationship is great. We're both working professionals, fully independent, and, like any normal couple, we have an active sex life. Enter my mother, 54 female. She's always been a little overbearing, but since I moved out when I started dating my girlfriend, I thought things had gotten better. Apparently, I was wrong. Last weekend, my mom came over to drop off some homemade food, which was nice, I'll give her that. I told her she could stop by after 4 p.m. since my girlfriend and I were having a lazy morning. But of course, she decided to show up 2 hours early with her spare key, which she has for emergencies, air quotations. Well, my girlfriend and I were in the bedroom, clearly busy, if you know what I mean, when we heard my mother banging on the bedroom door. She was shouting my name and saying things like, "I know what you're doing in there, and have some respect." I scrambled to throw on some clothes, went out, and asked her what the hell she was doing here unannounced. She started yelling at me about how it was disgusting and inappropriate to be doing that while guests are over. I reminded her that this is my apartment, she wasn't supposed to be here yet, we're 2 consenting adults, and she was having none of it. She called me disrespectful, said I had no manners, and even told my girlfriend that she should be ashamed, which, what the fuck, why would you say that? My girlfriend just walked out of the room, grabbed her keys, and left, because she wasn't dealing with that nonsense. That's so valid. I ended up arguing with my mom for 10 more minutes before telling her to leave and return the spare key. She refused at first, but I stood my ground until she finally handed it over. She left in a huff and later texted me saying she was deeply disappointed in how I spoke to her. Now, my dad and my sister are both telling me I was too harsh and that I shouldn't have put her in that situation. I argued that she put herself in that situation by showing up unannounced and barging into my home. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this guy is not the asshole, because if anybody's ever been walked in on, you know how it feels. It's crazy. You're scrambling. You're all, don't want to say naked, but exposed. And to have somebody, especially a parent, walk in like that, that is no fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and say not the asshole here. And one of the commenters said this, and I thought he summed it up pretty perfectly, so I'm gonna say it. Not the asshole. You gave your mother a set time to visit, and she disregarded it. Besides, what you do in your own house is none of her business. Boom! I think that sums it up pretty well. On to the next. Alright, this next one goes as follows. Am I the asshole? Wife asked for it and then got upset when it happened. I, 38 male, am a wrestler. I used to compete at a high school level. Obviously, I don't compete anymore, but I still lift weights and wrestle for fun. My wife, 36 female, and I have 3 kids. 15 female, 11 male, 9 female. I enrolled all of our kids in wrestling at the age of 7. The older 2 have been training and competing since then, and the youngest didn't like the sport, so she quit, and now she is doing gymnastics. My wife has never wrestled, but she goes to the gym regularly, and she has decent strength. Yesterday, I was chatting with my wife, and the topic of our daughter's wrestling tournament came up, and she asked me, what do I think will happen if her and our daughter wrestled, and I told her that she has no chance. She answered, she's not beating me, I'm much stronger, and I told her, you can try if you want to, but I'm telling you, you will get ragdolled. And she said, okay, let's do it then. So I called our daughter into the backyard and told her that her mom wants to wrestle. They wrestled while me and the other kids were watching, and just like I told her, my wife got absolutely ragdolled. Jesus. When they were done, it didn't last long, my wife laughed it off and acted fine. But as soon as it was only me and her, she said to me, so you knew how that wrestling match was going to go? I answered yes, and she said, and you still let it happen. I got embarrassed by my own child in front of my other children, and now they are not going to look at me the same way. I told her that she's the one that asked for it, and the idea that our kids will not look at her the same way is completely false, because I taught our kids to be graceful and respectful in victory and defeat. And I'm pretty sure they have respect for their mother regardless of what happens in a wrestling match. Even after I said that, she wasn't convinced and is still upset, which is not justified in my opinion. Am I the asshole? Okay, guys, in my opinion, this is a clear-cut case of fuck around and find out. He told her what was going to happen. She would get absolutely dominated, ragdolled, you know what I mean? And she was like, no, it's okay, I got it. And then got ragdolled, got dominated, and then is mad because he didn't step in. But she wanted it. I think that if she wanted to fight the daughter, you know, wanted to ego check her, that's on her. You know what I mean? And then got absolutely ragdolled. Anyway, let's go to the next story. Okay, folks, this next story is absolutely batshit insane. Off the rip. I already know it's going to be a good one. So, let's go. Am I the asshole for throwing out my sister's organ? Starts off as follows. My sister is always intentionally trying to be the odd one out in the family. Recently, she's had her first child, and she decided she wanted to have her placenta taken by some women and dried and treated so she could scatter it like ashes or plant it with a tree or whatever. She considers herself very witchy, which causes a lot of friction. The woman was supposed to come pick it up, but then my mom and our aunties surprised my sister with a whole bunch of frozen meals while she's in the newborn phase, and there wasn't enough room in her deep freeze for all the dishes plus the giant bag of ice cream and the placenta. So my sister texted the woman, and she said it could be dropped off early. My mom essentially volunteered me to drop it off since it was on my way home. I picked up my husband on the way because he had a few drinks after work with friends and was being responsible. When he saw the cooler in the back, he looked in it and was extremely grossed out seeing the frozen placenta. After some discussion, he also made me realize it was really disrespectful to him and I to rope us into this because he has very strong beliefs in God. There is also hygiene and health concerns my husband brought up. Okay, that's kind of valid. It got to a point where it was either he was going to get out of the car and walk, or the placenta needed to be out of the car. I texted my sister and mother to come pick it up, but after ages without an answer, we ended up throwing it out. She's furious and has started making it other people's problem. I know it wasn't the nicest, but it also doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I offered to cover the deposit she put down with the woman who was going to process it. And I even got her a gift card to a witch store she likes to get some herbs and stuff to do the ritual, air quotations, she wanted, despite it being against my values. She still claims, even after apologizing, making amends, and covering her losses, I'm an asshole and she won't let me come see my niece, and she refuses to come to or bring my niece to family events I'm at, which is causing huge problems within the family. She told me to post the situation here and see if it's hormones or sleep deprivation making her overreact. If I'm in the wrong, I don't know what else I can do that I haven't already to make it up to her. Was this really such an asshole move, even after the amends? And there's an edit below, and it says, didn't really expect this to get so many comments. There's no way I'm going to read all of them just for people to be rude and twist things, but some much needed clarification below. I didn't improperly dispose of anything. I just couldn't explain fully with the word limit. We removed it from the car and left it hidden in the cooler on the side of the road. Her husband went and retrieved it later, but it had thawed, so they couldn't take it to the place anymore because there were all these strict rules about custody chain and freezing and whatever. So we essentially, air quotations, threw it out, but didn't actually. No, you definitely threw it out. She could still plant it or whatever she wants to do, just can't have it dried or whatever. Also, to those throwing around U.S. laws, you're not the center of the universe and we don't live there. I clearly stated I apologize, so not sure why people in the comments can't grasp that. Obviously I'm wrong, so whatever. I'll find a way to make it up to her. Holy shit. I'm actually shocked and appalled at what I just read. This lady, oh my god. The birth of her niece. And her sister took the placenta out. And then, oh my god. And she just chucked it out the window. No, she didn't actually chuck it out the window. But she left it on the side of the road to thaw out. Who does that? What the fuck? I think this lady is missing a little juice from the accountability cup. She mentioned that it was disrespectful to her husband and her that her sister's involved in this witchcraft stuff with this placenta because he has very strong beliefs in God. I don't think that should matter because wait, hang on guys, it doesn't exactly explain why oh yeah, it does. Okay, so it says my mom essentially volunteered me to drop it off since it was on my way home. Okay, first of all, that's a little on the mom. I mean, I didn't know the sister was a huge dick, but you probably shouldn't give a frozen placenta in a cooler to a sister that you know has a husband that has very strong beliefs in God. Look out. For the record, I'm not agreeing with this lady. That's fucked up, and you shouldn't do that. But I kind of see where she's coming from. Because if I saw a frozen placenta in the backseat of my car in a freezer, I'd probably be a little grossed out too. But I wouldn't just leave it on the side of the road to thaw out. I would do what my mom and sister wanted me to do and drop it off. And the fact that she didn't do that because her husband was drunk and she had to pick him up and she let her husband dictate what happened to it, that makes her the asshole. Definitely the asshole. Also, this post is marked at the very top. She is labeled as the asshole on this feed. So, and here's what one of the comments says that sums it up pretty well. You're the asshole. WTF. Why does your husband's belief in God make him think it's okay to disrespect your sister's ritual? This had nothing to do with him at all. Respect to him shouldn't even be in the question. Why not put more effort than 2 texts into getting the placenta where it needed to be? Why take on this responsibility at all? You only get 1 placenta per pregnancy. This was important to your sister, and you dropped the ball in a major way. I think that sums it up good because you only get 1 placenta per pregnancy. That is the detail that matters. She basically ruined this whole thing that her sister wanted to do because holy shit, you only get 1 per pregnancy. That is extremely fucked up. Folks, if you ever have a frozen placenta in the back of your car in a freezer, and it's your sister's, and she just had a kid, and she really wants you to take it so she can do a ritual, let her do the goddamn ritual. Come on now. Don't be like this lady and be like, oh, but my husband, oh, strong beliefs, oh, I must throw it out. Don't do that. is stupid, an asshole, and a good way to break up your family. So, anyways, let's move on to the next and maybe final story. Mwah. Okay, actually, I had one saved, and this isn't the last one. This is actually the first story that I looked at. I just thought it was so insane that I'd save it towards the end of the video. So, it goes as follows. Am I the asshole for giving my friend a hand job? Wow, what a cold open. My friend, 22 male, told me, 20 female, he is in love with me 2 months ago. I told him I'm dating someone, and he took it well. We are still friends. Here's where shit hits the fan. What happened is my boyfriend cheated on me. I wanted to get revenge on him and asked my friend if I could give him a hand job and a blow job, then send a video to my boyfriend. He was very upset, accusing me of trying to use him. I wasn't. I just thought it would be a mutually beneficial thing. Holy shit. I slept over at his place that night and started stroking him down there when he was asleep. When he woke up, he was livid. He called me self-centered and told me I should be ashamed of myself. He hasn't replied to any of my message in 3 days now, and I'm worried about our friendship. Am I the asshole? Holy shit! That is the most insane story I think I've seen in a long time on this thread. And I think the comments do a pretty good job of seeing this as what it is and calling it out. This user says, go directly to jail. This user says, you're the asshole and a fucking criminal. You're the asshole. Imagine if the tables were turned. How would you feel if you woke up to that? Oh my god. I can't say that on YouTube, but and then another user says, you sexually assaulted your friend to get back at someone who doesn't even care about you or love you. You're pathetic. Alright, folks, I think that guy was definitely the asshole. Or that lady. Definitely the asshole. Sexual assault. Not cool. She was straight stroking that shit while he was asleep. You cannot want tea if you are asleep. So you can't ask for tea if you're asleep. She had no right to start stroking him. I'm sorry, I just got to keep saying that. It's so funny. Not funny for him. I don't know if this post is real or not, but if it is, I feel bad for that guy. I wouldn't want to wake up to some random lady stroking my shit down there. That'd be pretty messed up. Sorry to get a little. You know what? We're gonna stop talking about it. We're gonna move on to the last story. Let's go. All right, for our last post, I have kind of a tame family feud. It's not too bad, not too weird or anything. Just a little. This might infuriate some people. So here we go. Am I the asshole for pre-gaming, air quotations, my wife's dinners? My wife and I are both 32. Since we got married and moved in together 5 months ago, my wife has simply not made nearly enough food for me. This is not a kind of situation where I'm constantly agitated at her for incompetence or anything like that. I would be more than happy to microwave a burrito. I would be more than happy to whip up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I can't. My wife has, every single night of our marriage, done the same thing. She'll make me a tiny dinner. I'm talking like a Chinese chicken salad with 30 grams of chicken and 10 leaves of lettuce arranged fashionably with dressing. For anybody that doesn't know grams, 30 grams of chicken is like, take your hand size, for example. That's about how much chicken that is, pretty much. I hope. Anyways, not enough food for anybody. Especially because this guy is... Let me just keep going. When I finish eating, I'm still hungry because I'm a 230-pound man who works a physical labor job. It's not enough food. At first, I tried to openly communicate with her, but she always took it horribly. She would adopt a 1,000-yard stare and then begin talking about how incompetent she is and how she can't even make her husband a proper dinner. I tried to calm her down with, oh honey, that's not the case, I just eat too much, or don't worry about it, I can make a bit more. I tried to be overwhelmingly positive. It never helped. She would always just get incredibly disappointed in herself, cry, and or take it out on me. Then she would do the exact same thing the following day. After the communication route failed, I tried to eat her dinner as is. It became hard to sleep at night due to hunger, and I lost 7 pounds in the first month. Holy shit. Eventually, I figured out my own system. On my way home from work, I started swinging by a fast food restaurant and getting myself a burger. I would basically pregame her meals with some more calories. I figured it was a win-win, as what she doesn't know can't hurt her, and I could have my fill of food. I would eat on my way home, walk in the door, pick at the salad or don't know how to say that word, or homemade mac and cheese she made, compliment her food for her delicious cooking, and later dispose of the wrappers discreetly. 2 days ago, I was on my way home and in line at the drive-thru. My mother-in-law was coming out of the restaurant. She ran over and greeted me. I asked her in a humorous way not to tell her daughter where she saw me because she'd take it badly, and she agreed. But, unsurprisingly, she narked on me anyway. I got home to a furious wife who demanded details. When I provided the truth, she got extremely angry and looked legitimately hurt. I'm not good at handling confrontation and feel like I betrayed my wife in some way. Was I wrong here? Am I the asshole? Alright, folks, listen. Being hungry after you eat dinner, especially if you eat later in the day, is one of the worst feelings ever. You ever eat dinner and then you lay in bed because you're trying to go to bed, and then, oh my God, your stomach is just growling. This is something I struggle with. I never get enough food. Well, probably because, I don't know, I don't eat as much as I should, but it's still one of the worst feelings because you don't want to get up and go, like, microwave the leftovers or, make a sandwich because it's bedtime. You're trying to go to sleep, dude. You're trying to veg out, be a chud, and just lay down. But no, you're hungry. So I think in this case, this guy is not the asshole, and I would probably do the exact same thing. Because if the communication didn't work the first time and she immediately was like, I'm incompetent, blah, 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 like biting your head off about how incompetent she is and she's a bad wife and whatnot, I'd probably do the same thing. The mother-in-law is a fucking narc. So the moral of the story, guys, is don't tell your mother-in-law anything that you wouldn't want your wife knowing. And that's where we're going to end it off. If you liked the video, subscribe, or just like it, or just type in the comments and be like, I watched this video. And also, I don't know if I'm going to do this because this is my first video, but I might make an email, and if you guys want to submit your stories, if I blow up and get internet famous, and get a bunch of sponsors because I want to be internet famous and I'm a sellout. If you guys want to submit your stories, if there is an email, feel free to submit, and I will read them. Infinite content glitch. Come on, guys, get me famous, get me rich. Let's go. I'll give it back to the community, I promise. So, anyways, with that being out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Maybe subscribe, stick around for more videos, and yeah. Bye-bye.